Before we start the show, I just want to know, have you gone to TrillMBA.com and gotten your copy of the 3-step surefire method to ask for help without getting dinged? Have you got your copy yet? Well, if you haven't, you need to. Let me tell you about Julia. Julia writes, so my review went very well. I've only been in the role for 6 months, so I definitely need help. I used the information on inquiring about leadership style and expectations. I gained so much insight on my boss and how to slay my role. Until that podcast, I would have never thought to ask for help. I would have just thugged it out, but she was impressed and I felt motivated and empowered. Listen, you guys, there is no need for you to thug out your role. All you have to do is go to TrillMBA.com and sign up to get the 3-step surefire method to ask for help without getting dinged. So go forth and prosper, and let's start the show. Welcome to the Trill MBA Show. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose Anuha, aka the Trillest MBA you will ever know. And I'm here to help you survive and thrive in corporate America by giving you the truth and being as real as only I can be. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back for another episode. For all of you out there who are joining for the first time, or you're joining because you heard about the show from the Side Hustle Pro podcast with Nicaila, well, welcome. Thank you for checking us out. All this month, I've been focused on how do you keep your career and do your side hustle? Because let's face it, all of us cannot be full-time entrepreneurs. We just all can't, not all at the same time. So we got to take some baby steps. Some of us, not all of us, but some of us. And for those of us who enjoy your career and are not ready to leave corporate America just yet, but you understand there is a real need to have multiple streams of income and to use your gifts and talents in a way that brings financial independence to your life, then this is the episode for you. I wouldn't be the Trillist if I didn't share with you what was going on with me. So today, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on having a side hustle through my transitions in life, right? So I was laid off. I've been battling depression and anxiety. And now I'm interviewing for a new job. Whew. So this show is going to be me telling you what I did wrong and what I would do differently now that I'm in a better place. So let's talk about how I started the show, just for context, especially for all the new people. And a quick shout out to all the new people coming over from Side Hustle Pro podcast. Thank you for checking my show out. I appreciate you. Tell your friends about it. Shout out to Nicaila. So I started building this show while I was employed. That's why I bought all this fancy equipment. And I didn't have too much thought around what my job would think about me having an internet radio show, because that's where I started at DFWI Radio. Especially because I didn't really get to be my full Black ass self, because the radio station had a lot of church folk programming. And so I had to tone it down and not curse, especially since it was a live radio show. So I wasn't trying to get any fines or anything like that. So I started that show, that was season 1, back in 2017. And I realized that I wanted more freedom to be my Black ass self in creating what I wanted this show to be. And let's face it, corporate America is not the place to say whatever you want to say, however it comes out of your mouth. No, ma'am, not the place. So I am self-aware. I know a lot of people question that, but I promise you, I'm very self-aware. Trust me, everybody I know, even the people who love me the most, remind me all the time how quote unquote crazy I am or how different I am. I have been a little different all my life. But the thing is, that thing that makes you just a little different, sometimes people judge it as being just a little off. That's the thing that your gift is like locked inside of. That thing, your true self that people don't understand, that's where you thrive. So, number one, I started this show so that I, being in my Black assness, can tell you my real truth about our experience as Black women in corporate America. And that's why I created this show. And I'm so happy every time somebody sets up time with me to go over their particular situation. I even had a call today where somebody had their year in review. They've been with the company for many, many years. And for the first time, they got feedback that did not make sense and was negative. And it's like, what is happening? Am I going crazy? Wait, so you didn't tell me your expectations of me. You just assumed I should know. And now you're dinging me because I can't read your mind. We have all been there. And I have learned how to actually handle those situations. And so I want to help you through these things because at the end of the day, I want you, if you so choose, to rise as high up the corporate ladder and make all the golden parachutes and buckets of money that you can make. Because why else be in corporate America? So while I was getting my life together to become a podcast, I go through a mental health crisis. And a lot of it has to do with I wasn't taking care of myself. So as I've mentioned before, my mom passed away shortly after I started working at my new job some years ago when it was my new job. And I really didn't take time to take care of myself, to process, to, feel all the feels, process the grief. I didn't do any of that shit. I was like, okay, I got a job. What do I do now? And I just tried to keep going when I should have sat my ass down. So that's why I learned in hindsight. But after a while, all of that stuff catches up with you when you don't take care of yourself. And so basically, I just had a crisis. And so I recognized I needed some help. I was at my wit's end and I went and got help. But in that time that I went and got help, they conveniently laid me off. It was just so convenient. Oh, God. I could say more, but that's all I'm going to say about that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so 2018, I'm unemployed, and then I'm trying to process loss. You know how you just feel like you're losing everything, just whole life is over, when it's really not. Your inside dramatic is just taking over in your brain. And for me, it's just a struggle. It just becomes a really big struggle because my brain chemistry. One mistake that I made last year is I was grasping at straws when it came to life. And I tried to start doing the most of all kinds of things because I didn't want to feel like a loser because I didn't have a job. The things we tell ourselves is such bullshit. These limiting beliefs. I'm so glad Tamika talked about that last week in the Mother's Day episode because We really gotta find out what those limiting beliefs are, and we gotta kill those things because they are detrimental to your life. And so you gotta weed that shit out quick, because the last thing you need is you have a limiting belief about yourself, and then here comes your boss with her bullshit. And so you already feeling insecure, and then here her ass is to add on to it. And then you just kind of spiral. So last year, I needed to focus on getting mentally and emotionally healthy. And I was getting help, but I was in a bit of denial. And so I was all over the place trying to do all kinds of things, which is why if you look at season 2, it wasn't consistent. And I feel bad about that because last year I only put out like 17, 18 episodes when this podcast is supposed to come out every week. And so for this new season, this new year, I committed to myself to be consistent and mind my business. But in order to do that, I had to first stop and be inconsistent back then and take care of myself. So the other thing I want you guys to do, and I've stressed that a lot this season, is I want you to take care of yourself. You got to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. And I know for us, it's hard. It's hard to ask for help, which is why I wrote that guide, How to Ask for Help and Not Get Dinged, because asking for help seems more like I'm telling you I'm incapable in some way, or I'm confirming for you that I'm incapable in some way. And sometimes in the workplace, we aren't given the grace that we deserve as human beings. Hell, we're not even seen as human beings. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, we've come a mighty long way, you guys. We have been through so much. Our ancestors are around us, dancing and celebrating, because no matter how much we've been through, we still are their answered prayers. And that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. And nobody, no job, no manager, no VP, no CEO, no company, no nonprofit, no service, nothing, nowhere that you are can take that away from you. And so when things get sticky, they get hard, and they get tough, I want you to remember and hear my voice. You were made for this. Point blank, period. The strongest genes run through our veins. And so whatever you close your eyes and you believe you can do it. If you can see yourself doing it, you can do it. The craziest, outlandish thing, you can do it. The only thing stopping us is ourselves. That's it. Our own imagination. Our own box that we put ourselves in because somebody told us we belonged in a box and we believed them. And so then we put ourselves in that box. But who were they to put us in that box anyway? Nobody. Nobody has a heaven or a hell to put you in on this earth. that I've come back to my right mind and myself. I'm clothed in my right mind. That's what the old folks used to say. I'm committed to delivering content to you every Sunday. And I do the most in order to get that done. And the funny thing is, that shit is hard as hell. It's so hard. You have to be tougher on yourself and your side hustle than your bosses at the 9 to 5. And so that takes discipline, that takes self-care, that takes commitment, and that takes consistency. Now, I don't know about y'all, but this shit is hard for me. I like to take naps. I like to watch Game of Thrones. And did y'all see that shit last? Man, don't even get me started. She blew all that shit up with one dragon. You have to be consistent. And you have to work to understand that you are doing something that's bigger than you. And if you got a side hustle and it's not bigger than you, I want you to rethink what you're doing, because you could just go get another job for that. It'd be easier. Side hustles are hard. And it's hard because you got to figure it all out. And you got to get it all done. And you got to do it with excellence. Now, I will say it's not always going to be excellent, but you got to strive for excellence every time. And sometimes that shit's just hard, but it's worth it. So I want to encourage all of you guys to please have a side hustle as you're growing your career. Even if you love what you do, think about how you can contribute and create another stream of income outside of your job. This way, when stuff happens, because it will happen, when the shit hits the fan, whether you're fired, whether you're let go in a restructuring, whether you decide to just up and quit because you just can't take it anymore in that particular situation, side hustle, best thing ever. I encourage you all to get one as corporate warriors. And like Erica Jones talked about in the first episode of May, her side hustle has actually made her better at her job. And I can honestly say that through doing this podcast, I have learned so much more about digital marketing and social media than I ever learned managing agencies as a brand manager. My goal is to keep people in corporate America. So by the time this episode airs, I will have interviewed for a couple of jobs in person. I know, y'all. But Mr. Cooper, he comes every month and he says, give us our money if you want to continue to live in that nice house. And I said, okay, Mr. Cooper, here's my money. And I want to be able to continue to say that. So I'm getting back in the game, y'all, God willing, getting back in the game. But something that I've struggled with, and you may find that you're struggling with this too, is how much do I tell my employer about my side hustle? Especially if it's one like this one where I kind of just say whatever the fuck I want. Rather, I say what I want, how I want. I don't think there's really a problem with what I'm saying when you get to the truth and the heart of what I'm talking about. You know, the microaggressions, the can I touch your hair? Hell no, I don't want you to touch my hair. Becky, get away from me. How Dwights treat us. Slavery. You know, I'm not saying anything that we all don't talk about. I don't have anything to hide. I don't want to hide anything. I'm proud of the work I'm doing with this show. I'm proud to help people get through their issue and possibly stay at the organization that they're at. And so my advice to you as you work on your side hustle and you are working your 9 to 5 and managing your career and rising the ranks is go check your company policy. Find out if what you're doing is in some kind of conflict before you get too far down the road. And there's no turning back. So this has been a great experience so far, and I'm excited to continue to see it grow. But in order to do that, I need you guys. And so here are some things that I need from you. 1, I need you to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Especially if you listen on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I need you to subscribe, rate, and review. The other thing I need you to do is head on over to Trill MBA, and I need you to connect with me via the safe space or get your copy of the 3-step method to ask for help. So you just put your email in, name, email, enter. You'll be sent right to the page to get the download of that great PDF. I'm also going to be sharing more content this quarter. I'm working on that now. And in order to get it, you gotta sign up. And the other thing I would love for you to do is send me emails. Tell me what you think of the show. Tell me some shit you're going through. Tell me things you love about your job. Tell me things you hate about your job. Tell me things that are just about your job. I want to hear from you. And I especially want to hear from you if you believe that you are going to be the next CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I want to hear from you. And it doesn't matter if you don't make it there. I want to know if you're trying. Like, I'm going to legitimately try. We'll see how far I get. Don't hold your breath on that, though. It'll be a surprise. Okay, you guys, look. Pray for me. I'm going to pray for you. We're going to have a great week this week. It's going to be an awesome week. We're not going to have any microaggressions or any passive aggressive bosses or any toxic environments. We're rebuking all those things for this coming week. We're going to figure out what our side hustles are going to be, or we're going to get more consistent with the side hustles we have. We're going to strive for excellence. We're going to be positive. We're going to be happy. We are going to make it because we can, because of the ancestors and slavery. Like, it's in our DNA. We got to make it. We have no choice. We got this far. Listen, you got this week. So until next week, you guys, remember, you can always email me at ask@trillinba.com. You can schedule a 30-minute consultation with me. Go to trillinba.com/coaching. Set up a free 30 minutes with me. My calendar is up to date. Sometimes it gets a little wonky, but it's all good. I'll work it out with you if I'm traveling or something crazy. But I got you. #we all we got. So until next week, remember, go subscribe, rate, review. Add me on Instagram at Trill MBA Show. Find me on Facebook at Trill MBA Show. I'm on Twitter, kinda. But if you guys want me to hang out on Twitter with y'all, let me know. I'll come hang out with y'all on Twitter. Listen, use me as a resource because that's my mission. My superpower is wordsmithing conversations and prepping conversations to navigate the workplace. I have figured out all the right things to say to help you get to where you're trying to go. So use me as a resource. I'm here. This is what I'm doing is for you. So until next week, stay happy, stay positive, Don't let no motherfucker get you down this week. Keep smiling, keep shining, keep slaying. You know, just Beyonce this week out. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for supporting me. And until next week, keep it trill. The Trill NBA Show is a Fair World Corp LLC production. Executive produced by Felicia and Rose Enuha. Music is Kick Push by Ryan Little. Keep it trill every day, y'all.